Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my official Elimination Chamber Toronto predictions video. We're going to go through every single match that's currently announced for Elimination Chamber Toronto. I'm going to tell you who I think is going to win those matches, why I think they're going to win those matches, and what storylines and feuds might be developed at this show as we go towards WrestleMania 41. I might be at the show, so look out for me if you're going, by the way. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And if you're looking for more than just daily wrestling content, come over to the Patreon, patreon.com/SantiZap. Over there, we upload so much more extra content that can never get uploaded here to YouTube. So go check it out. Link in the description, link in the pinned comment, patreon.com/SantiZap. Let's start the predictions. Let's start things off by talking about this women's tag team match between Nia Jax and Candice LeRae going up against the WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton and Toronto local legend Trish Stratus. I'm going to be honest with you, out of all of the matches that are currently announced for this show, this unfortunately is the one that I am by far the least excited for. And it's not because I feel like there's a lack of star power. I just feel like this is the wrong match at the wrong time for Tiffany Stratton as she goes towards WrestleMania, where none other than the most dangerous opponent that she's ever faced, Charlotte frickin' Flair, is waiting for her. This should have been Tiffany Stratton versus Trish Stratus in front of a rowdy Toronto crowd to give Tiffany Stratton a strong championship defense against a Hall of Famer as she builds herself up to be a really credible opponent to the most dangerous opponent that you could possibly face at a WrestleMania, a returning from injury Charlotte Flair, who wins everything. The fact that Rhea Ripley also isn't defending her championship on this show means that I was kind of relying on Tiffany Stratton to really bring that women's championship star power to this show, and it should have been a championship defense, not just a random tag team match. But nonetheless, here we are, and not only is this the match that I am the least excited for, I also think that this is the most predictable of all of the matches that we have here. This is a runaway for Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton. They're obviously going to win this. I just don't think that they're going to have Tiffany Stratton lose in a tag team match as she builds herself up towards WrestleMania, where she's going to go and face off against Charlotte. The only way that she could possibly lose this match, in my opinion, is if one, Trish Stratus turns heel, which I don't see. I mean, maybe at a different PLE, not this close to WrestleMania, maybe I could have seen that. Or two, if Charlotte Flair gets involved and helps Candice LeRae and Nia Jax win, but that hasn't really been Charlotte's MO since coming back. In fact, Charlotte's MO is that she feels like she's too damn good to even be involved in a championship feud with Tiffany Stratton and hasn't really attacked her or really done any underhanded tactics. She's just sort of been looming over her and stepping over her lifeless corpse whenever she can. So yeah, I think that you can take out a second mortgage and just put this on Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus. I know that I've been a little bit negative about this match, but it is going to be a fun match. It's going to be a fun crowd as well, who's going to get both behind Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus. It's going to be a good time, but like I said, I don't think that there's too much to think about with this match. Just take it home. Trish Stratus, Tiffany Stratton is going to win this. Let's stay with the women here and let's talk about the Women's Elimination Chamber match, where the winner goes on to face Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania. We have Liv Morgan versus Bianca Belair versus Alexa Bliss versus Bayley versus Naomi versus Roxanne Perez. And I've already made a video talking about why every single individual competitor should or shouldn't win the Women's Elimination Chamber match, but we're going to dive into that a little bit here as well. In my opinion, the running favorite, even though she's not the Vegas favorite, should be Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan should be considered the favorite because she's already had this long-standing feud and program with Rhea Ripley, and she's been having great matches with Io Sky and developing a really strong chemistry and storyline with her. And it just so happens that Io Sky and Rhea Ripley are having a match the night basically after Elimination Chamber on Monday Night Raw, and I would not be surprised if Liv Morgan wins and interferes in that match. Thus, we get a triple threat match at WrestleMania between Rhea, Liv Morgan, and Io Sky. That to me is probably the most realistic of the available options. Funny enough, the Vegas favorite is Bianca Belair, and under most circumstances, you should be going Bianca Belair here, considering Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley is the biggest available dream match that we have going into WrestleMania for the women's division. That is a match that has enough star power behind it that could close out night one. But because Bianca Belair has this ever-looming presence of Jade Cargill, that to me is the reason why you shouldn't go with Bianca Belair, because Bianca Belair, in my opinion, already has a dream match in the books ahead of her, whether she wins or loses the Elimination Chamber, because I think that she's going to be going after or going up against Jade Cargill. Now, what's my prediction involving Jade Cargill? I think Jade Cargill makes her presence felt in this match. I feel like Jade Cargill breaks into the chamber. Maybe she breaks through the chains or something like that, or maybe she goes underneath underneath like a Shawn Michaels all of those years ago, and I think that she causes the elimination of both Bianca Belair and Naomi. Bayley is an interesting option here as well because it would make it so that Rhea Ripley now goes back to back years facing individual members of the Four Horsewomen, which would be interesting, but I think I'm good. I don't want to see Bayley win. I don't think that she's going to either. The big outlier here is Roxanne Perez. If they decide to give Roxanne Perez the win here, that would be huge. That would be so out of left field, but I wouldn't hate it. It wouldn't feel like a swerve for the sake of a swerve, and it would give us a brand new matchup that we've never gotten on the main roster or on NXT between Roxanne Perez and Rhea Ripley. That being said, I'm gonna keep it simple here. I've already pretty much alluded to it. I'm going to stick with my choice of Liv Morgan. I don't think that it's necessarily the most exciting choice, but the fact that it could involve Io Sky is the reason why this intrigues me, and I just feel like she just makes the most sense here. On top of that, Liv Morgan has been Miss Elimination Chamber for the past 2 Elimination Chamber matches. She's been the best part of the Elimination Chamber match in subsequent years, and I think it'd be great if she finally won something, considering she's also been great in Royal Rumbles but never been given the victory. I think it's time that WWE gives one of these big WrestleMania making opportunity moments to a Liv Morgan. In terms of feuds that could be developed here, I wouldn't be surprised if we walk away with a potential matchup between Roxanne Perez and Bayley as a continuation from their feud that really started in NXT to begin with. And then, of course, the Bianca Belair and Naomi thing with Jade Cargill, that has an entire life trajectory of its own. Alexa Bliss is a dark horse here. I don't see her winning this, but maybe we see the presence of the Wyatt Six here. I personally don't see it. Nonetheless, I'm going to go with Liv Morgan. I'm going to lock this answer in. Liv Morgan is winning the Women's Elimination Chamber. Now let's go to the match I am the most excited for, the unsanctioned match between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And look, I don't think it's unrealistic to say that there might be a world where this ends up closing the show, because for all intents and purposes, this is a WrestleMania match that just happens to not be taking place at a show with the banner that says WrestleMania. Something that I've been really vocal about on this channel is that this basically is a WrestleMania match for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, 2 Canadian guys that did their indie run in Canada and then the United States, then Ring of Honor, then NXT, then the main roster, the main eventing WrestleMania together, having a match at WrestleMania together. But something that they haven't done is have a match of this high a stakes, of this high a profile in Canada's most famous sporting building in the Sky Dome, now called the Rogers Centre, the building where the Blue Jays won multiple World Series, the building where The Rock faced off against Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior. So many major moments in Canadian history have happened in that building, and now I think it's time to make another one between 2 Canadian boys and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens fucking killing each other. This is going to be a brutal match. A lot of people are confused about the concept of it being unsanctioned. They're asking, isn't that just a no disqualification match? You're right, it is. For all intents and purposes, it's the same thing as no disqualification, bloodline rules, whatever it might be. But the reason why it's unsanctioned, it's purely for story elements. It's to demonstrate just how much hatred there is between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, a hatred that could lead to career-ending moments to the point where WWE and storyline says, we want nothing to do with this match. This match will never be in the record books officially. That's what unsanctioned really does. It really elevates the stakes and really helps me and you and viewers around the world understand the story dynamics more than anything. That being said, based on what we've seen from Kevin Owens recently, from his pile driver shenanigans to the insane ladder match that we just saw with Cody Rhodes at Royal Rumble, we're going to be seeing some pretty insane stuff. We're going to be seeing pile drivers on things that you probably weren't imagining. You're going to see a lot of blood. You're going to be seeing these guys fighting backstage, probably within the actual Sky Dome itself. This is going to be an absolute brawl. I know that there's a lot of rumors and speculations from fans that Randy Orton is going to get himself involved in this match, but I don't think so. I think that we do see Randy Orton. I just think it's going to be after the match, after the smoke has settled, and once we realize that Kevin Owens has finally won the war against Sami Zayn. So yes, I am picking Kevin Owens to win this, and then after the match, I would not be surprised if we have a vicious, angry, bald Randy Orton go out there and pump Kevin Owens into the oblivion, into the atmosphere. Listen, if Kevin Owens is allowed to bring back the pile driver, then my boy Randy Orton should be allowed to bring back the punch. Some people are also expecting Karrion Kross in here. I don't think so. I don't think that there's any any interference of any sort at all. I really think it's just going to be these two guys killing each other for the better part of like 25 minutes. So I've got Kevin Owens winning. Then we got a feud getting set up between Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. And then after on Monday Night Raw, I wouldn't be surprised if Karrion Kross starts speaking all of his gibberish into Sami Zayn's ear. And then that ends up being the WrestleMania feud for Sami Zayn. Bro, come on. Oh, what the? Yeah, come on, Santino. That was a sneak peek of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club, available exclusively on patreon.com/SantiZap. This week, we're looking at Rusev versus John Cena at WrestleMania 31, where he comes out in a freaking tank. CM Punk versus Ricky Starks on an episode of AEW Collision in 2023. The NXT Black and Gold Classic between Aleister Black and Andrade at NXT TakeOver New Orleans. Motor City Machine Guns versus Kevin Steen and El Generico on Ring of Honor. And the 2012 Elimination Chamber match, the one that Santino almost freaking won. You'll be getting this and more, like the Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days earlier than everywhere else, the currently ongoing Undertaker WrestleMania match watch along, the currently ongoing Royal Rumble match watch along, and so much more content that never appears here on YouTube because it would just get blocked here on YouTube. So go check it out, patreon.com/SantiZap. The link will be in the description or in the pinned comment. I'm confident that if you even give it just one shot, 1 month, that you're going to fall in love with it. There is so much content, hundreds of hours of content already available for you, so go check it out. If you're already a patron, thank you so much for your support. Now let's get you back into the video. Before we go into the final match, let's talk about the final boss having his confrontation with Cody Rhodes, where Cody Rhodes has to give him an answer as to whether or not he's gonna sell his soul. Again, we don't fully know what selling your soul means, but there's a lot of parallels to other pieces of fiction before what selling your soul means. It means getting ahead in life at the return of your own moral standards that can be controlled and manipulated by another being. In this situation, it's The Rock. Will Cody Rhodes go corporate heel? Will Cody Rhodes follow in line with what The Rock did and became the corporate champion for Vince McMahon? Maybe Cody Rhodes will instead follow the path of a Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 17 and just do it there. Here's what I don't want. I don't want this segment to be 45 minutes of The Rock reminding all of us once again that me and you, Cody, me and you, we're friends. We've become friends. You know we're friends. Our moms are friends. I don't want to hear any of that. Just 10 minutes at most, for the love of God. Actually, no, this thing can go as long as it needs to, just so long as it's not The Rock repeating the same damn thing over and over again. So what will Cody Rhodes' answer be? Cody Rhodes' answer is going to be no, but I don't think that that's the end of it. I don't think that Cody Rhodes saying no means that the final boss is going to disappear and that we're not going to see the final boss again for several months. I think that The Rock, the final boss, is going to be very much a part of this WrestleMania feud, whatever feud it ends up being for Cody Rhodes, based on whoever wins the Elimination Chamber. Even though I don't foresee a Cody Rhodes going corporate, turning heel, and having that big moment with The Rock at Elimination Chamber, I think that it's going to plant the seed in our brains that it could happen at WrestleMania during the actual main event, much like at WrestleMania 17, Stone Cold Steve Austin made the deal with the devil. So I won't keep you much longer here for this one. Cody Rhodes is going to reject it, but it's not going to be the last that we hear about The Rock trying to buy his soul. Now let's talk about the big kahuna, the men's Elimination Chamber match, where the winner goes on to face Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship in the Night 2 main event of WrestleMania. We have John Cena in his last time in Toronto versus CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre versus Logan Paul versus Damian Priest versus Seth frickin' Rollins. Okay, so there's actually a lot of moving parts here. One of those moving parts that really set off a lot of dominoes within this match was Jey Uso selecting Gunther after winning the Royal Rumble. That meant that the winner of this had to go up against Cody Rhodes, which then also, in my opinion, really limits who actually is a viable winner. For example, I no longer see Logan Paul or Damian Priest as viable options to win this because I don't see either of them being there once the smoke settles of the Night 2 main event of WrestleMania against Cody Rhodes. Now, if Gunther was still a viable option, then yeah, those two are very much in the running, but but no longer, in my opinion, do those two actually have a chance of winning this. Then we have Seth frickin' Rollins, who does have a lot of history with Cody Rhodes, but similarly to Bianca Belair, he just has something bigger that is currently already playing out that will likely lead to a major WrestleMania match, that being the impending return of the OTC Roman Reigns, who I would not be surprised if he also breaks into the chamber and costs Seth Rollins this match. Roman Reigns has not been seen since the Royal Rumble, and I would not be surprised if he makes his presence felt here after what Seth Rollins did to him at the Royal Rumble by stomping his head into the steel steps. If Roman does break into the chamber, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a moment where you think he might also attack CM Punk, but then maybe he doesn't, and maybe that plays part into the favor. Who the hell knows? Shit, maybe the favor is that if the final two is Seth Rollins and CM Punk, that, I don't know, Paul Heyman gets Roman Reigns in there and Roman Reigns takes out Seth Rollins and helps CM Punk win? Maybe. Come back to this video and call me a super uber mega genius if that ends up being correct, okay? A distant third here in terms of likelihood of winning this is Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre does not seem like a threat whatsoever. This man is a roll-up machine, getting beaten by everyone and anyone that might be even slightly remotely associated with the bloodline. The way that they've been booking Drew McIntyre, losing basically a week out from Elimination Chamber, doesn't particularly bode well for making him feel like an actual threat within this match, so I don't see him winning either. So really it comes down to two people. It comes down to CM Punk and John Cena. Here's where I think things are going to land. I think that CM Punk is going to win this. I think that CM Punk is going to go to the main event of WrestleMania and have the big match, the big main event that he's been wanting against Cody Rhodes to close out the night. And I would not be surprised if John Cena, even though he's one of the favorites here, gets screwed over by Logan Paul. I know many of us, myself included, don't love the idea of it being Logan Paul versus John Cena at WrestleMania, but unfortunately when it comes to the main eventers that are in this match, the most Logan Paul friendly matchup that there is John Cena. I very much see that as a very strong possibility here. On top of that, Logan Paul has sort of made it a yearly tradition that he screws over some legend of the business, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, and now maybe John Cena, to set up a match with them or involving them at WrestleMania. So CM Punk, I feel like CM Punk is probably the most viable option here. We already saw that great moment, that great segment with Cody Rhodes. He was one of the reasons why so many people started to see the potential descent into madness of Cody Rhodes, and it's kind of perfectly timed now that not only is he descending into madness when CM Punk pointed it out that the weight of the crown was feeling too heavy, but now we have the final boss offering an olive branch to Cody Rhodes, trying to remove the weight of said crown to make his life easier and make him the most famous champion of all champions of all time. How crazy would it be if CM Punk goes to the main event of WrestleMania and gets screwed over by a heel turn from Cody Rhodes because of The Rock? The Rock, who continues to screw over CM Punk out of WrestleMania main events, or in this scenario, at the WrestleMania main event. I feel like that's very much on the table here as well. Obviously, we'll go more into detail with this prediction as we get closer to WrestleMania, but the fact that I already have this churning in my head tells me that CM Punk is the best available option here. All right, folks, those are my predictions for Elimination Chamber. Again, I might be there, I might not. I haven't really made a decision yet, but if you do see me, say hi. If you don't see me, then come over to one of the live streams where we're going to be watching this show together. But that's it. Okay, goodbye. Get out of here.